Hi everyone, it's Sarah or LavilyDay here with another video. Today I'm sharing how I prepared everything for my latest photo shoot. The theme of the shoot was painting. Now, I didn't come up with this theme on my own, it was actually inspired by a local photo competition with the same theme. But I had planned on doing it for the longest time anyway, so this was as good an excuse as any. The main component of my photo shoot was these overalls. They were made for me by Mobinjo, who you should definitely check out. Links are in the description as always. I wanted to strategically splatter the overalls with paint so they looked the part. I figured the easiest way to do this was to do it while they were on B, so I took the necessary precautions and covered her with cling wrap first. I had a reference picture on my phone as a loose guide and started with white paint. I did my best to make the application as random as possible whilst also making sure it looked good and believable. I concentrated most of the paint around her knees, sides and stomach area. I scrunched up the material as I worked and wasn't afraid to smudge what I'd done and make marks with my paint-covered fingers. It's meant to look messy after all. Probably a good idea to cover the ends of her legs. Now for some colour. Because this is B, I started with yellow. Straight away, I managed to flick paint onto her exposed neck. Whoops. Nothing a damp cloth can't fix, but I probably should have thought to wrap her neck earlier. Oh well, no harm done. Moving on, I continue flicking the yellow paint. Like with the white, I'm trying to keep it to the same areas, but I'm not too strict about it. Next is red. I put most of this on her right leg, and apparently on the floor of my diorama too. I grabbed my gold paint next, because why not? After that, I used some medium blue, which doesn't really show up, but oh well. I go back and forth between flicking the paint and roughly brushing it on. The dark blue shows up a lot better. Light blue, on the other hand, was pretty much a waste of time. After that, I used some purple. I turn B on her side so I can get the right angle for optimal splattering. To mix it up and add some variation, I use my finger to dab green on and around the pocket. Lastly, to pull it all together, I bring back the white for some final splatters. I think it turned out really well, don't you? Before putting my paints away, I paint over my Our Generation painting set so that it both matches the colours on Bee's overalls and looks more realistic. While I'm at it, I mess up one of my mini beer glasses to make it look like it's been used to wash brushes. Finally, I take a handsaw to some cheap, cruddy brushes to turn them into some tiny ones that are the right size for Bee. This was incredibly easy to do, and I think they look so much better than the entirely plastic one that I would have used otherwise. Just look at them! So cute and still functional. By now, the overalls have completely dried. Time to take them off and dress Bee up properly. I found a drawing online of a girl wearing a white t-shirt and a black singlet layered under some overalls, so I wanted to see if I could give that a try. Unfortunately, I only own one black singlet and no plain white t-shirts, so I had to improvise. Looking back, I'm not quite sure what I was thinking, but this seemed like a good idea at the time. Please don't judge me. Regardless of how odd the singlet t-shirt combo is, you have to admit that Bee looks cute. This girl has a way of looking great in most things, honestly. If you thought we were done there, you were wrong. We can't have Bee set up with paints and the like without giving her an actual painting to work on. I cut a 6 by 8 cm piece of paper to use as the canvas. Even though I have the little paint set, I decide to make a mini painter's palette out of a yogurt lid. Not only will it be cute, but it will give me more options when I'm taking photos later. I sketch out the rough shape first, but end up adjusting it while I'm cutting anyway. As I put paint on my own palette, I put a little splotch on the mini palette too. It's finally time to start painting. I ended up using the teeny brush I had made, just for fun. The painting is going to be of a bumblebee and some flowers. I apply the paint somewhat liberally and use a hairdryer to speed up the drying process between layers. Slowly but surely, I build up the flowers before finally starting on the bee. At this point, I've done all I can with this brush, so I switch to a longer, although much smaller brush. I add details to the bee and more depth to the flowers. The more I add to the flowers, the more everything starts to blend together, which is not the effect I'm after. I want the bee to stand out and be the focal point of the painting. So, to fix this, I attempt to add a blue wash of sorts to the space behind the bee, and ultimately end up blurring it out with a bunch of white. Much better. Now there's no mistaking that there is a bee in this painting. I end up adding some metallic highlights off camera afterwards, but this is essentially the finished picture. Now, in the photo shoot, I wanted Bee to be holding one of the paintbrushes, with paint on it. But what I didn't want was to accidentally get paint on her. So, my ingenious solution was to put paint on a brush and let it dry. So it would still look wet and shiny, I then coated the end of the brush with gloss Mod Podge. I did the same for the paint on the mini palette. A clever solution, if I do say so myself. And with that, everything is finally ready. Bee is such a cute little artist. She looks super proud too, and honestly, who can blame her? If you enjoyed this video, please consider giving it a thumbs up and leave a comment down below telling me what you think. If you're not already subscribed, I would love it if you joined me here. I upload a new video every weekend on Sundays. Thank you so much for watching. It has been Lavily, and I'll catch you in another video sometime soon.